My wife compared me to her friend's perfect husband. My comparison made her perfectly single. She wanted perfection, got perfect karma instead. Update 1. My wife destroyed our marriage by comparing me to another man every single day for 6 weeks straight. But here's what she didn't expect. I was keeping count and I had a comparison of my own that would end everything. It started innocent enough. 3 months ago my wife reconnected with her college roommate who had just moved to our city with her husband. They seemed like a nice couple, and I was genuinely happy that my wife had found her old friend again. We'd been married for 4 years, had our routines, our inside jokes, our comfortable life together. I thought we were solid. The first red flag should have been obvious, but I missed it completely. After their first coffee meetup, my wife came home with this dreamy look in her eyes that I hadn't seen in a while. She started talking about how perfect everything was in her friend's life, how romantic her husband was, how thoughtful he seemed to be. That weekend, out of nowhere she mentioned that her friend's husband brings her flowers every Friday. Just a casual comment while we were watching TV. I didn't think much of it then. Couples do different things, right? I wasn't the flower buying type, never had been, and she'd never complained about it before. But then Monday came and she brought it up again, and Tuesday and Wednesday. By Thursday, I realized this wasn't just casual conversation anymore. She was dropping hints, but they weren't subtle anymore. They were becoming demands disguised as observations. The pattern became clear during the second week. Every conversation somehow circled back to her friend's husband and his amazing qualities. How he cooked elaborate dinners every Friday night. How he never forgot important dates. How he always listened when his wife talked about her day. Each comment felt like a small knife, perfectly aimed at what I apparently wasn't doing right. I tried to brush it off. Marriage has its phases, right? Maybe she was just going through something, comparing our life to what seemed like perfection from the outside. I figured it would pass once the novelty of the rekindled friendship wore off. But it didn't pass. It got worse. By the third week the comments weren't just observations anymore. They were direct attacks on who I was as a husband. She'd look at me during dinner and sigh, then mention how her friend's husband always set the table with candles. She'd comment on how he surprised his wife with weekend getaways. How he remembered every little thing she mentioned wanting. I started paying closer attention to what was happening. This wasn't just admiration for another couple's relationship. This was systematic comparison, and I was always coming up short every single time. The breaking point of that third week came on a Sunday morning. I was reading the newspaper, enjoying my coffee, when she sat down across from me with this serious expression. She looked me straight in the eye and said the words that changed everything between us. She told me that maybe I should start paying attention to how a real husband behaves. She said I could learn a lot from watching her friend's marriage. She suggested that maybe if I tried harder to be more like him, our marriage would be as happy as theirs appeared to be. I sat down my coffee cup very carefully. I looked at my wife, this woman I'd shared 4 years of my life with, and realized that somewhere along the way, I'd stopped being her husband, and started being her disappointment. I wasn't being compared to an impossible standard. I was being compared to another man, and that comparison was happening every single day in our home. That's when I made my decision. I wasn't going to fight this battle on her terms. I wasn't going to try to become someone else to win back her approval. I was going to let her have exactly what she was asking for, but not in the way she expected. I smiled at her that Sunday morning and told her she was absolutely right. I agreed that her friend had an amazing husband, and that she deserved to have that kind of marriage too. She smiled back, thinking she'd finally gotten through to me. She had no idea what was coming next. After that Sunday morning conversation, my wife thought she'd won some kind of victory. She believed my agreement meant I was finally ready to transform myself into her vision of the perfect husband. What she didn't realize was that I just declared war, and she'd handed me all the ammunition I needed. The fourth week was when the gloves came off completely. She stopped being subtle about her dissatisfaction and started making direct demands for change. Every morning became a lesson in how I was failing as a husband, with her friend's marriage as the textbook example of what I should aspire to become. Monday morning, she cornered me in the kitchen while I was making coffee. She told me that her friend's husband wakes up early every day to prepare breakfast for his wife. Not just coffee and toast, but actual meals with fresh fruit and proper presentation. She stood there, arms crossed, waiting for me to volunteer to start doing the same thing. I looked at her calmly and said that sounded wonderful for them. Then I finished making my coffee and left for work. Her frustration was visible, but I wasn't going to play her comparison game on her terms. Tuesday brought a new attack. She started criticizing my appearance, pointing out that her friend's husband obviously spent time at the gym and took care of himself. She mentioned his broad shoulders, his flat stomach, how he dressed well for work every day. She suggested that maybe I should start taking better care of myself if I wanted to keep up with modern standards for husbands. I thanked her for the feedback and told her I'd consider it. The calm in my voice seemed to frustrate her even more. She was expecting defensiveness, arguments, promises to change. Instead she was getting polite acknowledgement and no action. Wednesday escalated to financial comparisons. She'd obviously been digging into details about their lifestyle because she started mentioning specific things about his career success, how he'd been promoted twice in the past year, how he was providing a better lifestyle for his family, how he was clearly more ambitious than other men his age. The implication was crystal clear. I wasn't earning enough, wasn't ambitious enough, wasn't providing the kind of life she deserved. She never said it directly, but every word was designed to make me feel inadequate as a provider. I nodded thoughtfully and told her that financial success was definitely important in a marriage. I agreed that every woman deserved to feel secure with her partner's ability to provide. She seemed pleased with this response, thinking she was finally breaking through my resistance. Now you can watch the second part by pressing share and more.